Back in August of 2025, I stumbled upon the best cash flowing machine in real estate. It's called Luxury Villa Management, a business model where you find villas that are waiting to be sold and rent them from $1,000 to $10,000 a night while they sit empty. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the exact 3-step process that I used that helped me generate over 1.1 million in revenue that I split with homeowners so you can do the same. What is the exact 3-step process? Step 1, find a villa worth partnering with. Step 2, negotiate favorable terms. And finally, step 3, you fill the calendar with bookings. This is the exact 3-step process that I used to generate over $100,000 in 30 days without owning a single property myself. By the way, if you want to start finding and managing your own luxury villa rentals, click the link below to learn how I can guarantee that you make $20,000 to $30,000 in the first 90 days. Now let's get to it. Step 1, find a villa worth partnering with. First of all, you need to look for 3 different things when you're looking for a villa. You need to find a place with a hot spot, you need to find a place with great amenities, and you need to find a place with a lot of bedrooms. Now, keep in mind, hotspot means Miami, LA, Houston, Saint-Tropez, Ibiza. These are all hotspot locations, which means it's a tourist-driven location. You do not need to market the property to get your first booking because tourists come anyway. Secondly, you need to find a home with great amenities. You're not going to stay in a place yourself without a pool. You're going to a beautiful place like, let's say, Miami. So you want to stay in a place with a pool. Does it have a sauna? Does it have a steam room? Does it have a hammam? Most homes have hammams now, believe it or not. But you want to look for amenities like that could help you push the property even further. And third, you're looking for a property with the most amount of bedrooms because you need to remember that more beds equals more heads equals more money. So the more bedrooms that you have, the more people that you could sleep, and then the more you could charge. Most of my homes right now are all 7, 8, or 9 bedroom properties. I rarely go for 5 bedrooms anymore, but if I do find a 5-bedroom home, I will also try to put a second queen bed in one of the bedrooms, or at least some other bed in the bedrooms. Some homes, what I see is that they will have a king bed or a queen bed and then have a day bed next to it. A day bed also sleeps 2 people because it sleeps on the top and it also sleeps on the bottom. The purpose of every single home is to sleep as many people as possible. Now, the reason why you choose bigger villas over the regular old properties is because the regular old properties are way too saturated. You do not want to pick something that is just like your average Airbnb. That market's done. Airbnb arbitrage, that whole 9 yards are done because it is way too saturated. Everyone and their mother and their grandmother is doing smaller homes. That's why you want to focus on the larger homes. You want to focus on the luxury properties, stuff that most people do not have. They do not have access to it, and they also cannot even know where to start. People with Airbnb arbitrage, they also do not even know where to start because to get into these type of homes, you're gonna have to pay minimum $30,000 per month. And most people need to get in with first, last, and security. So most people do not have 90,000, and others have the 90,000 but don't feel like risking it and having to have a $30,000 overhead every single month before they even make any money. So that's why luxury villa management works better than Airbnb arbitrage. I have probably rejected over 50 homes in the past that come to me and ask me to do short-term rentals with their property. I do not want to deal with these small homes. I want to deal with bigger homes and better homes because, like I said, you're doing the same amount of work, but now you're doing it at a bigger property, which means more profit and you have no overhead and you just want to make the homeowner happy. Step 2, negotiating favorable terms. Now you have to negotiate favorable terms so it makes sense for both of you. Usually what I do with my homeowners is I negotiate an 80-20 split. Now that means every single gross number, let's say it's $100,000 booking, 80,000 goes to the homeowner, 20,000 goes to me. If there's any sort of maintenance within the property, I'm a workable person. I could pay for it out of pocket myself, but that's just me. You can also negotiate something else with your homeowner. Maybe you want to negotiate that if there is maintenance problems, that the homeowner pays for it and you have nothing to do with it. Maybe you could also negotiate a lower percentage since you're just starting out. Most people, when they just start out, they start at 10% and then they work their way up. I've had one time a homeowner that has been under foreclosure in their property and they were just waiting for money. So I came in and I did a 50-50 split. Now, that's obviously a little exaggerated and it was a one-time thing. So I don't really bet on those type of deals. I very much go for the 80-20 split because it's pretty standard and it's something that I could scale upon. An example of bad terms is taking a lower percentage and also taking upon the pool, the landscape. The owner just throws every single maintenance item of the property towards you. So yes, you're making 10% of a property that you didn't put anything up front, but then you're also spending maybe 50% of your profits on getting the property up to par and keeping the property maintained with pool in the landscape. Personally, when I was negotiating terms at one point, I was negotiating with a homeowner that they wanted me to pretty much cover their mortgage. So it's not like Airbnb arbitrage. Think of it like a homeowner has a mortgage of, let's say, $30,000. And he's saying that I do not make a percentage until the $30,000 is paid. Now, I do not owe the $30,000 monthly. I still have to pay the $30,000 and I can't make anything until I pay it off. That was the worst terms I've ever negotiated because some months we would reach maybe $29,000 or $29,800. And just because I didn't hit the 30K, I basically worked for free. Now, finally, step 3, fill the calendar with bookings. So at this point, you have the property, you've already negotiated terms. Now it's time to fill it up and make some money. Now, since you're just getting started, I would post on all OTAs, every single OTA that you find possible. OTA stands for a online travel agency. So that also means Airbnb, VRBO, TripAdvisor, Hopper, Plum Guide, or if your villa is good enough, you could put it on my own personal platform, Tucasa. Now, the best way to fill up the calendar is to go with the recommendations that these different platforms offer. We're gonna stick with Airbnb for this one. So Airbnb, when you first upload a property, they ask you to give your first 3 bookings 20% off. That's obviously something that you wanna go for because 1, your listing is new, so it kind of looks like a scam. And 2, you need reviews. So you want to throw as many people as possible into there and you want to bring the reviews up as much as possible. Also, you want to fill out everything that Airbnb offers to fill out. So the description underneath each photo, you want to fill out that the kitchen is fully stocked, if it is fully stocked. And you want to fill out if the property has any sort of items or amenities, you want to point it out. You want to show that this house is different from the rest. You want to avoid putting in your title any sort of new listing, brand new villa on the water. Those are Craigslist titles. Airbnb is not Craigslist, and just because you put your title in all caps does not mean that someone is going to click on it. Now, your goal is to fill up the calendar as much as possible in the future. So what you want to do is actually add seasonal pricing. Airbnb allows you to add set rules that, let's say you have a base price and then in the weekend it grows by 20%. And then in the weekday it shrinks by 20%. So you want to set rules throughout the calendar that varies with your property and your homeowner. It's best to always agree upon the pricing with the homeowner to make sure that you guys stay aligned. In the future, because you want to get the best possible rates, and then the future comes and you're still sitting empty, and then you panic and lower your price the week of, and now you're sitting empty because the chances of a last minute booking is probably 10%. Second thing I see that happens is people avoid every single recommendation that Airbnb gives. They avoid the 20% discount. They say that their property is good enough and they don't need the 20% discount. So they avoid every single thing that Airbnb recommends, and that's not a good look for your listing. Another mistake that I see is that people will discount their property way too close to the date that is actually coming up. So let's say it's a Monday and you're open for the weekend. So they discount the whole week and wait for a booking to come on the weekend. You should have discounted 3 months ago, and now because you didn't discount 3 months ago, or you weren't priced right 3 months ago, now you're sitting empty on a weekend that should have been filled. There's no reason that your home should not be filled at least 80%. You should have at least 2-night minimum. I would avoid 1-night minimum at all costs, but you should have 2-night minimum on a weekday and 3-night minimum on a weekend. Now that was my exact 3-step process that I used to generate over $100,000 in profit in the last 30 days without owning a single property. And again, if you want to start finding and managing your own luxury villa rentals, click the link below to learn how I could guarantee that you make $20,000 to $30,000 in your first 90 days. But for right now, bye-bye.